Okay. All right. It's January 2nd, 2023. And the boys went to the barbershop. And I figured I'd take advantage of this time that I'm by myself with no interruption, no distractions. And not having to worry if I'm doing it right or not, because I feel embarrassed doing it in front of them, which I shouldn't feel that way at all. But, this is all new to me. So I would just want to make sure that I am setting a safe place for me. One of the things that I said I was going to commit to doing for myself is I started last year, but I'm continuing it where I am prioritizing me, my mental health, my heart, my body, my spirit, my soul, in order for me to be able to also prioritize my family and everything else that will need me to be my best version of me for them. And so Pilates was one of the things that I said I was gonna do, because I've never been part of, I think I joined the gym once before, and then I ended up working for the gym, so I never really worked out. And then that wasn't long. And then I may have worked out maybe 2 or 3 times at a gym overall, but never really committed to it. Never was a type of person to want to work out, because anytime I would even think of working out, people would look at me like, oh girl, you skinny, like there's no need for you to go to the gym. You gotta eat and all this other stuff. And so that kind of discouraged me to even work out at all, whether at the gym or at home. But as I'm getting older, I'm 37 now, and I'll be 38 this year in 6 months. And so I have been just very intentional in doing what I feel that I need to do for me, whether people understand it or agree with it. And Pilates was one of the things that I felt comfortable in committing myself to, at least starting, with stretching, with Pilates. I feel like that's at least baby steps that I'm taking. And one of the baby steps that I took in committing to that is getting this mat, and then getting these 3 weight pounds, and then this I didn't measure myself. I'm gonna have Edison measure me when he gets home. This medicine ball, 5 pounds. Not sure. I mean, I'm looking at the picture. Maybe that's how I can use it. Should I wear sneakers? I don't know, but I'm not wearing sneakers right now. Then this is Edison. I found this in my closet. I guess this is for push-ups. Probably have done 5 push-ups anytime I've ever tried to do push-ups. I've always done the max, like maybe 5 in the girls' way, not the, anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked. But I want to document this so that I can have for me to go back to and just see my progress and whatever. What else? I committed myself to focusing on that, not just my body and doing Pilates and stretches. The importance of stretching I find to be very, very imperative, especially now that I'm getting older. And focusing on my eating. I'm not turning vegan overnight, but I am choosing to be much more mindful in what I eat. And obviously I want to gain weight, and that's something that I never really used to like talking to people about, because everyone for the most part wants to lose weight, and anybody that I come across that wants to gain weight is rare. Anytime that I ever do mention it, they always look at me like, girl, you crazy? Like, there's no, you're gonna regret it. And it's like, it's fine, I get it, I understand, but all of that, I just used to get easily influenced and easily discouraged by other people. And so I'm choosing to ignore that and just prioritize me, my thoughts, what matters to me. And so yeah, this is one of the ways that I'm choosing to show up for myself. And this is actually a outfit that a gym outfit, yoga outfit, I don't know, that my best friend, who I love so much, who I consider as a sister to me, that she gave away to a friend that was in need. But my friend, she doesn't fit into this. She's just not this size. And it wasn't something that she would even want to wear, because she just likes to wear loose fitted clothes and likes to be comfy, but not where anything is fitted like this. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but I just want to mention every detail that I find to be useful for me, so that I can remember and go back to, and to see how God aligned it all. Because here was my friend wanting to give a bag of clothes to someone who was in desperate need, who received all that she needed to get and more. And then this bag that my friend gave me actually was given to me after the fact, after I was able to bless my friend with all that she needed, and then plus more. And then this bag came along, and but I was already home, and so as I was going through it, I'm like, okay, what can I give away that I can give to her, but also give to someone else if she doesn't need it. And then I came across this, and I was like, my gosh, God, is this you? Trying to say that I could keep this. And so I'm gonna mention this to my friend anyway, because I wasn't even thinking of wearing it, but I said, you know what, it makes sense. If it fits me, then I order more, and I'll thank her for passing this on, because she, it does fit me and it feels good. So maybe I can find this online. Anyway, okay. So I came across, as I was searching for Pilates, I went on YouTube, and I came across, I think her name is Raven from Love is Blind, and I had been following the show this season from beginning to end, or I caught it late, but I been watched. And I fell in love with her, just her energy. And just then I was reminded that she was a Pilates instructor, is a Pilates instructor. And so when I went onto YouTube to search, I found her online. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how amazing it is that she is posting videos. And so I'm watching one of her beginner videos that is like 20 minutes long. It's just mainly like stretching and some other moves that she's gonna be showing. And so I'm just gonna follow. And yeah, so I don't know my measurements, but I do know that I weighed myself the other day. One day in the evening, I was 119 pounds, and the other day in the morning, I was 117 pounds. I know that it makes a difference when you weigh yourself in the morning and the afternoon, or in the evening. And so I'm not worried about my weight. I'm not worried about my measurements. I just want to be disciplined and commit myself to doing that. And then as I do that day to day, I'll see progress, and that's all that matters to me, that I commit myself, that I show up for me, and that I stay consistent as best as I can. If I fall or miss a day or miss a few days, however long I miss, however many days I miss, the most important thing is that I get back up and I continue, press reset, and keep it moving. And not just in that area, but also in other areas, as far as my mind, my mental health, the things that I'm choosing to invest in, such as books, audiobooks, investing my time in the things that matter most to me, as opposed to just watching a channel, watching a show, or when I would want to just sit down and relax and watch videos on YouTube. Instead of that, I would invest my time in reading a book that I know will benefit me. And just, that way I want to include the 3 words that I chose for the year. So I'm all over the place, but I don't care, because it's for me and I'm following. The 3 words that I chose for the year is embrace, nurture, and rest. And I am taking my time and pacing myself at God's pace, what each of those 3 words mean to me and how they apply to me, and how God is choosing to use those words to grow me, to mature me, and to help me to discover me, and also strengthen my relationship with Him, and really draw me closer to Him in a much more deeper level, and to others as well. I also know that I have lost many people, not just due to the pandemic and them, passing away, but I've also have lost people as far as like friendships that I once had, that used to be very, very, very close or tight. They no longer are, and it's not that there's any love lost. I love each of them, however many of them they are, because maybe there's a few now, but maybe there's more later, or maybe those same people God will bring back to my life, and our friendship and our bond will be even stronger, because I feel that those that are meant to be in your life will be, and those that are not won't. But I also think that's just because maybe a friendship just shifts in a way, after a long time of being a certain way, doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with it. It's just that it needs to be that way for whatever reason, not just for me, but also for the individual. If maybe God is also working in their life in whatever area they want to focus on, then maybe them separating themselves from certain people, me included, and vice versa, is what would be necessary, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think I should have to apologize. I don't think they should have to apologize. I think that we just want to make use of our time that we have here, because tomorrow is never guaranteed. The next minute is not guaranteed. I could be making this video now, and by the end of this video could not be here, you know. But so I want to be grateful and be mindful of every opportunity that I have and put it to use and take full advantage of it, not just as an individual, as a human being to show up for myself, but also as a wife, as a mother, as a friend, as a sister, as a daughter, as a cousin, as an employee, as a stranger, you know. And yeah, so what else do I want to cover in this video that I want to mention? Yeah, there's so many things. I also have chosen to read the book of Romans, which is a book that I'm choosing to start with for the year. Not sure how many books I'll come across or that I'll, you know, be reading this year, but I want to commit to Romans, not setting a time frame and completing it, taking my time. I read yesterday the introduction and a commentary, well, really the chapter and then the commentary, and just back and forth trying to understand. There's a lot of things that I jotted down. And so yeah, so one of the things that encouraged me in the Passion Translation, in the introduction, it says, Paul wrote Romans to communicate the grand themes of God's grace and glory encapsulated in the gospel. No one comes into glory except by the grace of God that fills believers with his righteousness. Our clumsy attempts to please God in our works of religion are totally unable to make us holy. But God is so kind, compassionate, and gracious that he shares his righteousness with all who receive his son, Jesus Christ. And it goes on. But I love how the word communicate just stood out to me the most, because then I had to Google it, and I found that communicate means share or exchange info, news, and ideas. And one of the things that I've been passionate about is just sharing my journey, sharing my experience. 2022 was a year that I committed to just not sharing at all. I did start my YouTube channel in 2021, at the end of 2021, hoping that 2022 would be the year that I would like put myself out there. But instead, I learned in therapy how much of an oversharer I was. And so that was one of the areas that I was working on, not to overshare and not to feel that everything that I'm learning or discovering that I have to share with everyone. So instead, I would I would record through, like, during my lunch break or any moment that I felt like I wanted to record, but it was mainly during my lunch break, because it was really the time that I had to like do daily check-ins with myself. Sometimes I would journal, other times I would record. And so those are the videos that I actually recorded that I've saved for my daily check-ins that I can go back to and just reflect and just see my growth. But so in doing that, towards the end of this 2022, I felt like, man, I wish that I would have accomplished this or that, because it's what I was committing myself to doing last year. But I was still struggling mentally in a lot of different areas. And I also experienced a lot too that I overcame. And so I had to focus more on the things that I overcame than the things that I thought that I didn't accomplish. Because although I had a list of things that I wanted to accomplish, the things that I did get to accomplish may have not been on my list, but those were things that I not only accomplished, but I learned from and conquered and persevered and endured through it all. And so my goal was because I was part of I did a lot of things in 2022, which I felt was very, very productive and should be very, very proud of myself for doing so, and I am. But 2022, I was continued on with the Destiny Collective, which is a group of like-minded women who are ambitious and who are believers of Jesus Christ. And the goal was to follow a devotional by Marshawn Evans it's titled 100 Days of Believing Bigger. She also wrote the book, Believe Bigger. And so we were given the privilege to follow 100 Days of Believing Bigger, starting from October 22nd, I believe it was. October, November, December, January. Yeah, 100 days. I think so, like October 22nd, or was it September 22nd? I think it was October 22nd. I don't know. Anyway, one of those two. however 100 days fall into that. And I thought that by having the second go around of doing the 100 days of Believe Bigger devotional, that I would finally get to a place where I can, launch and like step into 2023 with a game plan, and like put myself out there. Although I do have a desire and the plan that God revealed to me to pursue and to really prepare for in August, was for the women gathering for March of this year, which would, be in March for like women empowerment. It won't be on the Women Empowerment Day, but it would be to represent women empowerment, but it would be a women gathering, and where we would get to share our hearts with one another, and also allow our hearts to meet the heart of God, and allow him to meet us exactly where we are, so that he can do what only he can, and so that we can also then tap into who we are and to do what only we can do, because it's what he says we can, and who he created us to be. So I thought that I would finally get to a place to launch, and so I was feeling a little bit defeated, discouraged, and feeling like, man, how is it that I spent an entire year focusing on myself, and I was just beating myself down, being a bully all over again, when throughout the whole year I was focusing on being my own best friend. And there's gonna be days where I will be my own bully, and then my worst bully, and then be my own best friend. And so it's a relationship that's growing and evolving, and sometimes we'll go back to its old ways, but I recognize it, I acknowledge it for what it is, and really sit in that and not be so quick to like rush out of it, because I want to identify why it is that it's so easy for me to go back to being a bully. Or not easy, but why do I go back to being a bully when I should treat myself with love and grace, and be much more gentler with myself, and compassionate. And so and it reminds me of the book that I read from, I forget his name or how to pronounce his name, I'm terrible, but it's a monk who just recently passed away last year, I believe it was, and I don't know, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's called The Art of Communication. So if you search The Art of Communication, and it's a monk who wrote it, it's Thich is his first name, Thich Nhat Hanh, something like that. Terrible, I should know this. But in the book, in one of the chapters, he talks about how our emotions, our feelings are like a child pulling or tugging on our shirt. And he explains, I'm just paraphrasing, where it's like a child tugging on your shirt and you yelling at it, like being very like mean or yelling at the child. I mean, I can only picture my youngest, who's 5 years old, tugging on my sweater or my shirt, and wanting my attention, and me just brushing him off, or being mean to him and nasty to him, or telling him to leave me alone, or telling him to shut up, or telling him like just being mean to him. I cannot imagine treating him in that way, or treating him not even close to it. And so the book, and how he explained that in that chapter, was that's how we are to ourselves when we are trying to do that exact, when we treat ourselves, or when we behave in such a way that kind of is like similar to how we would be treating a child if we were to put our feelings and our emotions, if we looked at our thoughts and our emotions and our feelings as a child who's tugging on, who just wants our attention. So I think that when I'm feeling something, or when I'm thinking something, or when I'm just going through whatever it is that I'm going through, instead of brushing it off or pretending that it's not there, or just being real mean to myself about it, I acknowledge it. I observe it. I identify what it is or what caused me to feel that way, and then go from there. And sometimes just letting it be, because sometimes just letting it be and just not entertaining it, sometimes, not to say to ignore it, but not entertaining it where I'm feeding into it. Like I can just be like, sometimes with a child, like if I see that my son is crying or being, I can hold him, and I can just, sometimes he doesn't want to be touched, he doesn't want to be held, I can just let him be. Sometimes that's all he needs, to just have time for himself to just be. And by doing that, he just then gathers himself and then goes back to, to whatever it was that he was doing. And so that's what I feel that happens when I don't entertain it. When I don't entertain my feelings that are not facts, But sometimes I'm also learning to be gentle with myself, to show myself compassion and grace, and to be my own safe space where I can be seen and be heard by me, and not wait to find a safe place to be heard or seen by others. And that's my hope, to be able to implement or to help others implement that in their own lives. What else do I want to cover in this video before I stop it and then start another video where I can do my workout? What else? I think that's it. So mind, body. So I'm just like thinking about all of the areas, but pacing myself. I thought that I would be able to have accomplished so much in 1 year, which I did. And so I have to also show myself grace and understand that it's been 37 years on this earth, and to have taken the year to prioritize me in the way that I did last year, I should give myself kudos and not focus on the negative, or not focus on the negative thoughts or the obsessive thoughts about, oh, you should have been here by now, or you should have, been able to conquer this by now, or blah, blah, blah. I'm just grateful that I committed myself to focusing on me and making me a priority. It's not selfish, it's not arrogant, it's not narcissistic. It's really loving me, just the same way the Word of God says, where it's to, where we are to love God and to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. How can we love our neighbors if we don't know how to love us, And so, yeah, I've been also reflecting on that. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to 2023 being another year of personal development, of growing, of evolving, of really committing myself to embracing, nurturing myself in all different areas, and also being mindful of the importance of rest, of being still, and of rest. Rest, not in the way where I'm just throwing myself and just being lazy, but resting in knowing the truth of who God says He is and of who God says I am, and of the promises of God, but also in resting that I'm doing the best that I can, that every step, whether it be big or small, is just as important as whatever step I take next. And just resting that if I don't know all the answers, that's okay. Resting that I don't have to have it all figured out. Resting in whatever confidence that it is that I have, that it's all that I need for the next moment, and being okay with that. There's just so much to unpack, and so much that I'm still, that I'm still learning. And something that I read, that I wrote down because it resonated so much with me, was, if you know how to learn, you can master anything in life. I always enjoyed, and this is something that I actually read, and then jotted it down. So I want it to be something that I can look back on and be like, I resonate with it, because it's what I know to be true for me now. It says, I always enjoyed learning how to learn. I studied various learning techniques when I was at school, tried dozens of note-taking systems, and always enjoyed challenging myself to acquire new skills. And I'm lucky to enjoy this process, because knowing how to learn has never been more important. Do fewer things and do them well, as opposed to doing so many things and not doing them well at all. Then I saw, I'm including everything in this video. I was watching the series on Netflix. It's spelled Kaleidoscope, Kaleidoscope, or maybe, I don't know, but whatever. It's a great video. I mean, it's a great series. It's very a lot of suspense. It's a lot of it's a heist, and they're trying to break into this vault. Whatever, it's good. And so, one of the parts of the movie where this FBI is in recovery, and she says, I just worry I'm going to screw it up somehow. And so what she means by that is she's trying to gain custody of her son. And in this particular part of the movie, she's sharing about screwing it up, meaning because her son is coming to visit. And so she's looking forward to it, but she feels like she's going to screw something up, or like maybe screw their relationship in any way. And she then asks the person who's leading the group in her recovery, is that she says, isn't there a point in recovery when I'm supposed to trust myself? And the lady says, it's hard to trust the person you are when you're still attached to who you were. Take a chance on yourself, because I bet you are more right than you know. She said, it's hard to trust the person you are when you're still attached to who you were. So it's like, here I am becoming a more evolved version of me. But yet, because I'm detaching myself to who I once was, I'm learning to trust in me. So I'm not saying I don't trust or that it's hard. Yes, it is hard to trust when you're still attached to who you were. But as you are detaching yourself from who you were and attaching yourself to who you are, meaning you're being present to who you are now, and acknowledging who you once were, but being able to look back and say, wow, that's who I once was. And man, I've grown so much and I've learned so much. And so when you are able to detach yourself from who you were and being present and trusting yourself and who you are at this very moment, it's much easier, and it's not as challenging. And there are going to be moments where, it's like when you're in a relationship, you're starting to get to know this person who's new in your life, but yet you find it a little bit challenging because it's like you're reminded of the person that you used to be with, who may have failed you, who may have dishonored you, who may have betrayed you, who may not have treated you the best because maybe they also didn't know how to treat themselves, because also you got to show compassion to that old version of you, to the person that you used to be, and not be such a, beat her down. Just the same way you wouldn't want to beat the person, your ex, down for them not treating you better, although you may want to, but you shouldn't, because, we are to love one another and show each other grace and also forgive. But forgiveness doesn't mean that you keep them in your life. Sometimes you can forgive and let them go. But yeah, and so just the same way that it takes time for you to trust someone, you don't want to also you don't want to get in the way of building this beautiful relationship that could be with this new person based on the experience that you had with the old person. And so I want to just embrace, nurture this relationship, this new relationship that I'm getting to have with myself and with God, because now I'm not the Jennifer that I once was in 22. I'm not the Jennifer that I was in 2021 and prior years. I am Jennifer in this present moment, with much more wisdom, with much more experience, with much more understanding, much more compassion, and this eagerness to grow and evolve, but also pace myself at God's pace, and not wanting to rush to the next thing that I want to learn, or the next thing that I will learn, or the next thing, like I want to be present. And so I am, doing all of that. And in the process, I will also rest. And that all those three things will then have a ripple effect, I'm hoping, I'm believing for, so that those around me can also be encouraged to do the same for themselves. And yeah, so that's what I have. Yep, I think I'll end it there. And so I will go and do my stretch and my workout and follow whatever else she will lead me to do. Okay, toodles. Toodles.